Sai Bode.
Indeed.
I like Sai.
Yeah.
Sai, that's great.
Hi, Bode. Sounds like a rock star.
Right.
Indeed.
I like
Okay, here we are. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're Art Matters New York. I'm Mark Safan, and I'm here with some familiar faces. Hans Witschi,
everyone.
Marie, Marcia, Barbara, and a new participant, member, whatever you want to call it, Cindy Bode. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. And glad to have all of you viewers, all 75 of you out there. So we have a bunch of things to look at that we've done. And also I've included a couple of things from outside shows that I thought we would be interested in. And anything else that anyone else wants to bring to the table. So let me
Without
look.
further ado.
Without further ado. How about, is it proper to say with further ado? Like what would that
Why not?
suggest?
We're
With further
idioms.
ado.
Yes.
Then you go, I guess you have to go into some other topic or subject. Okay, here we go. Yeah, what?
Did anyone get to see the Rashid Johnson show at the Guggenheim?
Did you?
No, not yet.
I haven't seen it, no. I haven't heard much about it. Have you?
Well,
Has
what
anyone?
I keep seeing in the Times, no.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, look, if it's at the Guggenheim, how bad could it be?
So let me do this. Now, the reason why, okay, I'm sorry about this, but here, this is what I wanted to get into first, because I think we're all interested in this. Can you see this, everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not going up that ladder.
So do we know what are we looking at, everyone? This
We're
is
looking
Marie's
at-
piece being installed, right?
Installed in your home?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow,
Oh.
Marie, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, you've come to grips with the fact that it's finished?
Yes.
Hooray.
We do. Oh boy.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
That's an opus.
Oh, it looks wonderful.
Wow,
Boy.
Marie. That does not look like what you had been working on when I was up there.
I don't think I started it yet.
Wow, that is gorgeous.
Oh,
So Marie, how do you feel about this? Are you excited?
Yeah, I was really excited and nervous. It was funny because it took like 6 hours to put it up.
It took
And
what?
about 6 hours for them to hang it.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was-
So
yeah.
I'm not going to say the whole piece should be 5 inches lower.
gosh.
No, you're not. You are not.
I'm not saying it, no,
No, no,
But that is not going to happen.
but it's fine. Okay.
Anyway, so
Marie, are you at all concerned with the sunlight beating on the canvas?
I am not.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
These are probably fairly permanent. I mean, they're probably very permanent. These are acrylics?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're probably fairly stable, I would guess.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, after exposure to the sun, they will fade slightly.
Yeah.
I mean, probably, but not for a while.
Probably improve it. So,
Well, there have been painters, trying to think of the names, but who knew that? Ingres. He said, I paint the paintings and nature completes them.
Ah,
Because he understood that like a certain thing happened when the paint aged and the surface, things happened to the varnishes and to the paints, and they just became richer and deeper. So let's hope that that's the case.
Yeah. It was just a really interesting project, and I want to thank all of you for your input during the project and help. And Saul helped me figure out where the canvases would go, so that was a big help. And it was
Let me ask you something. Can you swap the little, the panels, the squares, the 12 inches by 12 inches? Can you swap them in and out still? Or are they're all
yeah,
stuck together?
what we did to make it a little bit easier to hang, because there are 31 separate canvases.
Yeah.
So what Saul did was he kind of ganged certain canvases together and bolted
I
those
see. Okay.
to make it so, yeah. I
Okay.
originally I thought it would maybe just be better. And I kind of painted it this that I didn't know whether the part that came down, the T, that line
Yeah.
would work or not. So I painted it that I could just not include that piece that came down. Maybe it's like 8 feet or so. In
Are we
other words,
talking about,
it's gone 22 feet across.
you're talking about this?
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
didn't know whether that would work or not.
Why were you concerned that it may not work?
I just thought it was such a big piece. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, I've never painted anything this large. So, I didn't know, but I think it's okay in that space.
Okay.
Mhm.
What do you do at night? Is it illuminated?
No, no.
No, no lights in that room at all?
Oh, well, I haven't put lights on this piece at all. So I don't
Not
think-
yet. Are you
Yeah.
going to?
I don't
Does it
know.
does it need it? Have you seen it at night?
No, I don't think it really needs it. It's pretty
Okay.
light. In that space, there's a lot of open like windows and doors and stuff on both sides. So
Okay.
yeah. But thank you for your help though. I think that I repositioned, thanks to your input, some of those squares where I
Yeah.
originally put them, and I think it is better. So thank you. And then Hans had suggested that I repaint that pink space on the right. And I didn't work on that yet, but I might play with that.
Mhm. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You know,
It
what
will-
I might consider is this bar here, this pink.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this part has a little difficulty, in as much as it's sort of um, an appendage of sorts, because this is the dominant part of the painting, the horizontal, with all the painting going on. This part here looks a little bit like, it's not fully integrated. And this pink line here sort of reasserts the horizontality of this rather than allowing this to flow in to the bottom, part here. This sort of stops it a little bit. If there's a way to um, integrate these two panels in some way, I feel that it could be helped if this were a slightly different color right here. You know what I mean? If this were, gee, I don't know.
But
or if this whole, you know,
but
I mean, you know,
my
I understand.
suggestion was last time to put a completely other color there, a square.
Yeah,
Let's say
something.
let's
It
say
needs
a red,
something.
which doesn't belong to the whole thing, but with, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. It needs
that
something
was my
right in
suggestion
here.
one time.
Yeah, well, I could play with that because it's
Yeah, yeah.
further down, but
You need to pull what's going on up here somehow into this. Because as I said, this is an outlier anyway, just because we're not used to seeing paintings this size. We see things in more coherent rectangles, squares, etc. So this L shape makes this kind of an outlier here. So it needs to be pulled into this in some way to integrate these two things a little bit. I don't want you to go back in and make yourself crazy. You know, it's up on the wall, it's finished, it looks great. But if there's an easy way, as you know, Hans just suggested, maybe just adding another little color in there, boom, you know, like pop. And then all of a sudden this piece is, you know, vibrating in the same way as, you know, the upper portion. That's all I have to say. Which is a mouthful, but
no,
that's it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get back into it, but I think I can
Well,
repaint that.
that's why I'm saying if it were just a matter of changing, you know,
Yeah,
out some of these, you know, these little panels in here,
Yeah.
yeah,
that could be pretty easy.
yeah.
Is
I
that
think what you can do is, since you have this photograph, now you can easily, you know,
Oh,
with Photoshop find out.
yeah,
Now
true.
you do it just with Photoshop, try
You could
things
even
out.
do that on your iPhone.
You know what I'm saying?
uh-huh.
There's a drawing app on the iPhone,
Yeah, that's a great
and
idea.
you can just easily color a little square in
Oh,
and
boy.
change the colors, you know, however you want.
Yeah, that's great. I will do that. Thank
You
you.
should check that out.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll even do it for you and send you
Oh,
an idea.
oh, that would be great. I appreciate that.
Can you do a
Yeah.
tutorial on how to use that?
I use it all the time. It's really fun and easy.
Oh, I've
It's
been wanting to do that, to find out what the
I
extent of the
think
iPhone is.
but
What
something
the
you
what?
can easily change, Mary, something which is completely has nothing to do with the piece itself. But I think the label is too close to the piece.
The what?
The label, you have a label down there, or is it not a label?
That's just our light switch.
Oh, it's just a light switch.
Mm,
It's not a label.
No, it's in
Oh,
the,
It's not a
okay.
museum, it's a house.
it's in the
Okay.
position where a label is.
Listen, I'm honored that you thought I put a label up.
No, of course. You should. Okay, okay, okay.
Do you have labels on your paintings in your apartment, Hans? I was just curious.
No, I don't. I don't.
Well,
But I mean, this is really a piece, you know, it's nice. It's a nice piece.
yeah.
I think it
Anyway,
works
it looks
wonderfully, Mary. You should be proud of it. It's
you
great.
should. It's great. It's
It
great.
really,
You did a great
yeah,
job. It's amazing. It's ambitious, and you
yeah,
pulled it off. It's
yeah.
great.
It's
Yeah,
really
I think so.
meant to-
Well, thank you for all of your help and your input.
But now stop.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's up on the wall.
Right, exactly.
It's done. Yeah.
No, you did.
Fine.
It's really amazing. I think it's really great.
Yeah,
You
Uh,
did really good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Mark,
Incredible job. Congratulations. It's great.
Mhm.
indeed, indeed, congratulations, indeed. Not only on the execution, but on the hanging of it. It was an opus, certainly,
Yeah.
in creation and in execution and in the final stage. But So kudos to you for persevering. But Mark, I'd like to echo what Barbara is saying. Before we go live, maybe one day you could give us a tutorial on how to use the drawing app.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's so
Yeah.
easy. I mean, yeah, you have
appreciate
to have an iPhone. Do you have an
I have
iPhone?
an iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would appreciate you doing that this month if you could.
Sure. Not a
I'll
problem.
be on hiatus for the summer.
Okay.
Mm.
I think what I also like on the business is you know the architectural elements you integrated into your piece.
Yeah.
You know these things. You know, and, so I think it's really wonderfully done and
Oh, that's
integrated.
true. The horizontals and verticals. I didn't think of that.
So that's wonderful. You know,
I
and
did.
that,
Goes very
and
well
the
with
triad.
horizontals
and
and
that
verticals.
comes your abstract expressionism in there, and it's great.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's also the the sunlight and its angles
Yeah.
that add to it adds to it.
Yeah.
And I think when you want to light, it's difficult to light this piece like that
Yeah,
because
I'm not gonna.
because you will always have some reflection of the lights, and
Mm.
you know it's very difficult. I think, but you'll figure it out in one time.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna light it, but
I would.
it was a super interesting project though.
Mhm,
Of that.
Yeah.
mhm. Yes, absolutely.
It's like a puzzle, like a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like the rhythms and everything. You know,
Yeah. I love the way it goes with the door and the angles on the walls, the verticals and horizontals. It is a really nice, and yet there's the contrast with the abstract expressionist piece part of it. It's just
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
nicely done.
Absolutely.
Well, very well done.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
So how's about if we take a look at your work, Sai, that you sent?
Ooh, okay.
You ready to be exposed?
Sure, go ahead. It's a work in progress. It's hanging in my garage on a wall.
Wow.
Okay.
Hmm?
Is this the right
Yes,
orientation?
it is.
Okay. Because like it looks like those drips, so you flipped it, right?
Flipped it.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's 7 feet wide and 5 feet tall.
Did you flip it by yourself?
Say again?
Did you flip it by yourself?
Yes.
Wow. What a girl. Amazing.
Oh.
So is this is it acrylic or oil? Which
It's
one?
acrylic. It's
Okay.
acrylic. And I've been abstract painting for about 3 years now. And I don't really have an intention of selling. I just so love the process of painting. And
It's
Good.
all about
can
the
s-
process.
yeah,
It's all about the
I
process.
can see that.
Yeah.
I don't know when to stop. And I missed basic classes of painting. So I'm trying to play catch up in terms of composition and form and brush strokes and
Yeah.
all that. So I really appreciate any feedback that you have.
Are these forms, you know, the globes, these balls, have you worked
Yes.
with them before? Is that something
I seem
that,
to be attracted to orbs or anything
yeah.
that I like. My favorite thing to read is science or biology. So it kind
Right.
of you get that, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I like the way the dimensional volume, you know, of the spheres, you know, work against the flatness of, you know, the surface. You know, that, you know, the drips are obviously dripping on the surface of the painting. You know, the other marks, in the background are, just more, abstract. Let's say, they're not dimensional in that sense. They don't have volume. They're flat strokes on the surface. So you're playing with the idea of, of volume, of space, of illusion, with, the flatness of the surface and abstract, concerns of just, paint, dripping, what paint does on a surface. And I like that. I like the forms. They're really great. And I like the way
love the background. The background.
What's that?
The background is so, it looks like a stained glass window almost. I see what you're saying, Mark, but to me, it has a great deal of dimension, probably because it's offset by the frontalness of the dark globes. But there's some
absolutely
quality of depth to the background, especially the left-hand side.
No, I agree. Like the drips are definitely on top of the more, they're sitting on top of, my feeling with this, if I can,
please.
I feel like you could go even further with deciding, in creating more illusion of space. In other words, more, in a way, pushing it towards representation. In other words, you like the globes and they're working really well. The big ones in the foreground, smaller ones, hanging out in the background. And I think that you can even, think about, like, finding out what is going on here in the background, eliminating some of the noise, like some of these drips here,
Yes.
like here, like those could be painted out, or put back. And then you have this form that would read, much more clearly, this green form. Like some of this I find is a little bit, it's unnecessary. It's fine in the process, to find what's happening. But as an end in itself, I'm not sure that this painting is about drips. You know what I mean? Especially drips going up now, which indicates that you flip, the canvas over, right? So if this painting was only about drips and you were turning the canvas this way and that way and the other way, and the drips became the subject, yes, I could see that. But I think that something else is happening here, and the drips are not as important as you think they are.
Okay.
In other words, you could.
If I may interrupt here, and I have another approach. I see, I read these strips, of course, also as strips, but at the same time, I read them as circuit boards, or I read the whole painting differently because they are so important that I can't decide, if I wouldn't overpaint those things because they are even architectural things going on in these strips, creating space. And I see more some reflection on, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, artificial intelligence or the globe, our globe, and electronical circuits and communication, or what I'm saying. I read the whole painting differently. I don't, I'm not going into those areas and say, oh, this is a nice area, and because I like that, you should eliminate that. I think I think it's a bit also hard. I mean, as we always say, when we look at something new, is there another piece you are dealing with it? Do you understand? Because once you have one piece, it's this piece, and we don't know exactly where is it come from? Where does it go? But that's also interesting in a way, you know. But I like the globes very much, you know. And
Yeah.
you could say, yeah, you know, I don't see you know, I would like to see these strips maybe even in those globes reflected. You know that you play even more with these strips by turning the whole thing again upside down and make some strips that you have even a feeling that these structures of those strips, which are
Here-
circuits or whatever, reflect into that ball. You know, for instance, you could even go more sophisticated, you know, with this stripping stuff.
You know, here,
But you know, I read the whole thing differently. I think
Yeah.
it's a cerebral, there is a lot of feeling in there, but in a way it's a cerebral piece.
Yeah.
it's a what?
It doesn't look
Yeah.
like
Cerebral.
Cerebral. Yeah.
in a way. It comes from a lot of maybe reading books. I don't know, you know.
I was a
about things
professor.
I don't know, you know.
Were you a professor?
Yes. I was a professor of political economy.
You see. That's, you know, that's a piece when before Trump, you know, because here everything is okay.
I have to say, I just love this. And to me, when I first saw it, it's so illusionistic. It seems to me to be like the music of the spheres. The black, that looks like music on a staff to me, and heading into these spherical planetary things. So it seems like that's going on. And then in the same time, in the background, there's this sense of destruction, of things coming apart. So I just see such a contrast, and I love it because it does that. It has so much substance to it.
Yeah.
Is that
Taking
yin-
off,
yin
know,
and
from-
yang?
from what Hans said, which I agree with, and I think that's an interesting way to look at it. What I would say is that you could. I still have a little bit of problem with the strength, the emphasis of. Well, here's what I mean. This area, can you see back here where my cursor is?
Yeah.
These lighter blue. So you have these drips, but yet you've put these dots, you know, these like incidental, like little dots and squares in and around the drips. So you're transforming, you're taking the drip and then you're transforming it into something else, you know, something new, something that, you know, I would consider doing that with some of these as well. In other words, using, you know, what is essentially the drip and taking it somewhere else. So it does become like this kind of, you know, circuitry or intelligence, has this other function rather than so predominantly just the paint drip. You know what I mean? So I like when you're taking things, like I love these incidental little dots and things, and where this becomes a kind of an almost like a cellular thing on here, like the cells of a, you know, of a plant, you know. And so that's all I'm saying, that I think that, you know, the drips need to be a little less drippy and more you know, I like it, you know, but it can be modified, not modified, but taken somewhere else. I mean, in other words, some places it works for me and some places it doesn't. And I think there's a way to, like, as I said, you know, all this little painting that's going on in here, these little circles, I really love. And I would like to, I'd love to see like more of that. So the whole surface is, you know, I don't know. That's my take. But other than that, there's really a lot of great stuff in this.
Yeah.
I really like how you get a lot of height in this painting. And it's really interesting how the globes are on the bottom, but you have this, it looks kind of like tall buildings in a way. These, I don't know, somehow there's just so
Yeah,
much
it's
height.
architectural.
Like, yeah, Hans, it's very architectural, and it's really interesting how the composition of this piece, but it's dark on the bottom, but it's also very light. So it's really
Yeah, it's
interesting.
a really nice painting.
Yeah.
You know, there's another view. There's another view of this. Is that the same thing?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, but can you turn it around, because you know,
Yeah,
because it's
I
in
am.
an angle, it gives you on it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
How
the
about
balls
the,
are now bigger,
orb-
you know, for instance.
how about the orbs on top?
The what?
The
orbs
orbs
Birds
on
on
top.
top.
You mean flip it all the way around?
Yep.
No.
Now they're balloons, you know, on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
Changes, yeah.
Forget the balloons on the ceiling.
Birthday party. Birthday party.
Yeah.
This is much more interesting.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
the orbs reminded me of like Earth. The
Yeah.
way they painted the blue with the green, and
Sure.
it's not just architectural. I think somebody else said it's kind of, I think,
Terrestrial.
well, Mark said it's kind of like plant life, like it's biomorphic in a way. It's
Yeah.
like,
Biomorphic and also terrestrial.
Celestial.
No, terrestrial.
it's super interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's a
is.
lot going on. You could
Yeah,
tell
there
that
really is. Yeah.
you're thinking a lot about this, and it's not just well painted, it's interesting.
You know what we say a lot? What we say a lot in this class is we want to see the next one. We want to see more. We want to see, you know, this language, you know, where it can go and what it's doing and what you want to say, you know. So it's great to look at one piece, but it's more interesting to see, you know, the work in a body of work.
Yes.
You know, and because they take on a greater resonance, you know, it just fleshes it out. It becomes something. So it would be really interesting to see another painting.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't all have to be 7 feet. You know, if you want to make them 7 feet, that's
It was
fine.
the end of a roll.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you're still on a roll. Hopefully you're still on a roll.
Well, when I
So,
did this, it's like a primordial soup to me when I was doing it. An attempt to begin life again.
Good.
Pretty
Is
much
that what you were thinking? Is
It's
that
a
what you
good piece.
thought? Is that what you were thinking of?
when I started it, it wasn't what I was thinking of, but it's kind of just all gravitated toward it, which is, you know, these just kind of trying to bring life back up again through, and again, those were cells in there. That is through a cellular soup of sorts. Yeah.
Yes.
It's really nice. It's a good piece.
Yeah.
You know what? That wasn't so bad, guys. Thank you so much.
You can put your clothes back on now.
I'm no longer a virgin here.
We're not done. We're not done.
Oh.
We just started.
We just started. Yeah.
We were being very kind.
You know, here's another question. Here's another question I have about this.
Yes.
And that is, how are you going to stretch it? In other words, you're going to lose some of the painting, especially at the bottom. I'm concerned.
I think that's
I'm concerned about the bottom because you don't want these things sitting on the edge.
Yeah, I was even thinking of sewing a piece.
Oh yeah.
You could do that. You could do that.
Yeah.
You could do that.
No, it's not so bad, Mark. Just a little.
No.
It'll be interesting if it would be almost sitting on the floor. The one would be just sitting.
Yeah.
You
don't think so, Hans?
No.
If this piece is sitting on the edge?
No, it will work. It's just, yeah, no. No, I think, no, it will work, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Maybe,
it.
maybe you should stretch it, you know, well, and then you have a 7-foot, gigantic painting to deal with. But yeah, maybe you should stretch it and then go back into it and see what you need to do if necessary.
Yeah.
I
You know what I
think
mean?
I think, say you have a lot of things you put into this painting,
Yes.
and maybe a little bit too much sometimes.
Okay.
And because I see also wonderful lines, like curves you are doing, and
Yeah.
this could be an element which you could even more emphasize,
Yeah.
and create more space or whatever. Like
Yeah.
you see this Laufen, how do you say this lines you have there
Arcs.
in the globes.
Yes.
Yeah, there are lots of interesting things going on.
Yeah.
And that could be an element you just suppose it to those dripping things, by emphasizing something else,
Yeah.
like automatically painted things and individual things. I think that's something you have to think about.
I
What
agree.
do you want? What do you want to not say, but or where is the tension? You have a lot of tension in here, because there is a lot of gravity here, there is a lightness through those lines, these drippings, but then these balls are really like, heavy stuff. Beautiful, heavy stuff, but
yes, the more I look at it, the more it becomes almost representational.
Right.
The orange, is that supposed to be fire or some suggestion of fire?
No, that just happened to be the first thing when I cut it and put the canvas on the floor. It's just what I started with. And so I kind of left it there. And then I realized that it was actually helping to distract from the drips. Because when I was looking at it, all I saw were drips and I couldn't see the rest of the painting. So, but
in a way, it's almost a course in painting, because when you look on the left side, you started to fill out the gaps between the drippings, on the left, you see, so it's like it's an alphabet of something, it's like so that's interesting in a way, but in a way it's not didactic, but it's you have a lot of information in here what you can do with paint, but maybe too much.
I think I really need to learn how to create more space, more resting places. I think I get really I don't step back enough.
Well,
and there's so much I want to put in. There's so much I'm feeling at the time that I don't stop and just go have a glass of wine and come back later or not.
Shai,
where did you get that from, the glass of wine?
Shai, do you have room to step back in the garage?
I have I have about 6 feet to step back.
Oh, that's plenty of room.
Yeah, and then I take it down and I put it on the deck, which is where it is right now. Or you didn't even notice there are some dog paw prints on this because I walked over it. And, but that was all very, very helpful. Are you done now, Mark?
Not yet. Not yet. We're turning the screws now.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot while doing this. And I learned a lot while doing it. So,
going back to the drips, okay?
Yeah.
This area, even though it's interesting, you know, that kind of circuitry that Hans was talking about,
Yeah.
it's very, very frontal. It's very, very on the surface
Yes.
because it comes out or in to this main biggest globe.
Yes.
So it's the closest thing to us. Now, these drips,
Yes.
which are even darker, are more interesting and more integrated because they come out of these globes that are in the distance, that are farther away.
Right.
Right? So the push-pull between these things being in the back, you know, and this thing, you know, being a drip on the surface makes a nice play back and forth. Whereas these are just, you know, kind of in my face, in the center, on the surface, and attached to the biggest thing on the painting.
Yeah.
That's why I was sort of, you know, suggesting that something else happen with those and open up some space there. That would
Mark,
help. For me, that would help. What?
Mark,
Yeah.
speaking of opening up space, is it possible, besides, I think the spacing between the lines could be a little wider, perhaps, but what about different colors, like a pale color to look as though it's in the distance rather than just a dark color to make it come up front?
Yes.
Like a color from the background, like a pale green, a pale orange, a pale yellow.
Yeah.
I think that would help, you know, knit the back to the front.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, I mean, you know, you have to, you know, it has to work. I mean, but it's an eye thing. I'm just talking about an eye thing, like opening up space, like you said, and giving the eye a place to rest. It's hard to rest with
But
certain.
I have another thing which I have more problem is actually with the bottom, you know. Everything is very structured, and then on the bottom, you know, everything is like a little bit like,
I agree.
You know, nothing happens there.
I agree with you totally.
And I think you have to do something there.
Yes.
For me.
Yeah, I could
Do you
see
have a recommendation?
Yeah, I would very simple make some, I don't know, you could emphasize the space, like perspective, make trips in this way and this way, that you get like a, I don't know what, you know, to play with those dripping things maybe. That you get a floor type of thing, you know, a net underneath those globes, or also something has to happen. It's very, very
I think
down there.
I agree. What I would do,
everything is so structured everywhere, and there it's like nothing.
There it is, dead.
yeah. What I would do,
use the right hand, what's in the right hand corner that down there, if you could continue that.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's so beautifully painted.
Right.
This whole area down here is wonderful. Yeah, so all you really need is more of this green and orange. Really, you just need some color in there. The orange, you know, from up here, these oranges, you know, bring it down here.
Yeah.
Right in there.
Think of it as the reflection.
Right in here.
That from these forms.
That's all you need. Just get some of that color down there.
All right.
It looks like this area was not really considered or finished or something.
It wasn't, because I thought when I stretch it, I'm going to lose it. So I was lazy.
Right.
You have to stretch it. I mean, I have seen hanging canvases in museums without being stretched over a frame.
You know, this whole,
Mark,
sorry?
what do you think of that?
Say that again.
Okay, I've seen canvases just hanging without being stretched.
Absolutely. You can do that.
Yeah.
People do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was so helpful.
Si, would you continue to work on this particular painting, or would you do another one, as Hans usually suggests, do another one with suggestions in mind?
I think what I'm going to do, because as I started another one, my teacher in Florida said, when you do something that you kind of like, and this is what has been in my head for a long time, I'm going to do another one I've started, and then I'm going to come back to this one after I do the other one and just kind of make decisions when I see them together, what I learn in the second one.
Yeah. Good. That's a good idea. Many times we work on 2 or 3 paintings at one time because you get sick of looking at the first one.
It's true.
And you know, your brain goes dead. There's nothing happening, is what I'm saying. I just say I'm sick of it. I can't look at it. And I start something else.
Yeah.
And then come back to it.
Come back to it.
I like the globes. I like the globes.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good because you're going to see more of them.
And,
I was gonna say,
You're going to be
because
so
maybe-
tired of globes.
I know. I want to show you then also a globe. Maybe.
Do you want me to stop share?
No, share. I tell you when. Yeah. But just go on, Mark.
Yeah,
or are you finished?
We're
Yeah,
finished.
Really?
you have more pieces.
Thank you so much.
You're
That
welcome.
was really, really helpful, and
Nice.
I'm glad I joined.
We're glad you joined too. Mark, don't you have 2 more side?
No, I'm done with mine.
Oh, I thought you sent in 3 pieces.
I did 2 of the same one.
Yeah.
2 photos of the same piece.
That doesn't count. You know,
No,
it's still counted as one painting.
You have so many beautiful paintings.
I can only paint my garage, and it's been too cold. It's been a refrigerator in there.
Side, just send something that you've painted at the armory.
Okay.
Hold on. I share the screen for a moment. Let me see. Where is our Zoom? Here. Hold on. Because I think it's so fascinating. Globes.
I
Yeah.
do too.
And-
I'm stuck on that.
You know who
You
did
know,
globes, among other things? The symbolists.
And this is
No.
a still life I did.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You see that globe here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's in front of a painting, you know, it's like a still life
Wow.
with abstract painting with a globe, you know.
I love it. I love the
The
back.
flower as a thing.
I love that.
Let me
Nice,
see
Hans.
That's
Great.
very
if
interesting.
I
That's
see,
fabulous.
Wow. Yeah.
if I find a better photograph.
There it is, right down below. Yeah.
Mm.
No, hold on. Yeah, no, it should be much bigger. Hold on a moment.
When I go into class in Florida, it's one of the other students says, "Oh, here comes the circle lady."
The circling.
Not very
Really?
inspiring.
Damn it, why can't I?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, globes.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is coming. Doesn't get bigger. But it's actually about 70 inches or 50 inches or whatever, you know.
Wow.
And so the translucency, you know, just,
Yeah.
and, you know, when I was very young, in school, we had a painting, drawing class, you know, and we had to do still lifes, and I was already very early. I just did like the thing, and then the flower was just a globe instead of a flower. It was, you know, so this refers to that. And I think it's interesting, you know, that the glass has the same thing, you know, here,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
you don't see inside, you know, because we don't have the view, but
Wow.
it's basically reflected in that thing, you know.
That's really interesting.
And that's what I think, you know, that when you have these globes, maybe you mirror sort of some elements of things in the background, you know, in a way. And so, of course, this is a paint. It's not a painting, you know, it's not a different painting. This is one painting, you know, which is just, was a still life series. You see, this is a simpler, another thing, not so interesting in that sense, but just, and you know, this is disconnected. They are basically, you don't know, you
like
have
that.
a feeling this is in front of the, but this could be painted on the canvas here in the back.
Right.
So, you know, it has to do with how do we perceive or how do we read a paint, how do we read an image, you know, where the globe, you see, here is another example.
So
here you have even, you see, here is actually the actual cut off thing, and this is painted on the canvas, you know. You know, so it was like,
well, it's playful because the vase is, you know, dimensional and is a volume, and the circle is like a Malevich flat disc.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it was a still life series I did. Here it's a little bit not so interesting. Here is a more complicated thing here.
Are these yours?
Yeah, they are my paintings. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What year was this, Hans? That you these?
This was in '96.
Okay.
96. I mean, here it's not the globe, but it's just, you know, a playful.
Yeah.
They're
beautiful.
They are all
wonderful.
they are very huge canvas,
Beautiful.
you know.
I love it.
That's wonderful, Hans.
Yeah, this one is great. Oh, I love it.
Oh my God, that is wonderful.
Hans, I love the composition and the simplicity and the forms that you have, and the backgrounds are spectacular. Really beautiful.
So, Hans, how do you present these? Did you show these?
Yes. Yeah, not all, but I showed this, I sold this also.
Or how do you present them on a table?
No, they are on canvas. They are.
So wait a minute. Maybe I missed something.
It's a painting. It's a
painting.
It's Trompe l'oeil.
Yeah, but
oh my goodness! I just totally. It's so believable. I just totally.
Let's not bring Trump into this, if you don't mind.
I was completely bamboozled.
No, you see, I mean, you know, here it dissolves almost, you know, the glass, you know.
Yeah.
And here you see that they are very interesting. And
but the bottom is not a table. The bottom is a painting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything. It's like here is another one.
Look at that. I love the way you paint the glass.
God.
Beautiful.
These are wonderful, Hans.
Yeah.
Yeah, the colors are great. The palette on this one is really wonderful.
Yeah.
Very nice. Amazing.
I think you should re-show them.
Re-show or repaint?
No.
Oh, you sold everything?
No, I didn't.
Then you should re-show it.
But you see, I dealt here also, but very constrained, you know, with free flowing, like you do, Sai. You know, you are in your case, it's even a bit more interesting because you have all these things also going on. But and here, you know, I said always, it is a vase, the stem of a flower, and the flower in front of a painting. That means they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements, you know, at the bottom. There are 5 elements, nothing else, you know. In your case, you have many elements, which do something come together somehow, you know.
But I do
And-
like, I like the translucency of your orb, of your globe. I like
Yes,
that
yes.
idea.
Right. There is a lot of things you can do with globes, you know.
Mm.
Right. Yeah, here is another one, you see.
Let's see that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
God.
And you have really to study that environment. You can even make reflection in a globe of colors which are not visible in the painting because maybe they are outside the painting.
I
And
see.
that's why the globe is an interesting thing,
Okay.
because you can reflect the whole world in there, even you don't see the whole world.
Yeah.
It's like a mirror.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, that's the interesting part.
Yeah, that's how the like Goya would use a mirror. So it would not be part of the painting, but it would reflect a different.
And this is a weird painting, and I thought a lot about it when I painted it, because the shadow is actually the most interesting part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's called, you know, I came to that idea after I had a helicopter flight with some friends, you know. We went with the helicopter over Manhattan, and then I saw that there are some shapes very small because you look down. You see something bigger because you are closer to that building or
Right.
whatever, and the shadow becomes very small down there. And I thought I have to integrate that in one of these still lifes, you know. It's a bit weird, you know, it's weird.
It's weird, Hans.
It's very weird. Yes.
Very weird.
So that was my globe thing.
Yeah, very nice.
Kudos. That's
This
great.
is just
Oh, my goodness.
this is
Oh, that's another
and it's
one.
not
Wow.
the globe, it's just a flower tulip, you know.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Hans, these are really spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are not bad. It's nice.
Interesting. Wow.
The whole series started actually with this painting, without the flower. Just when I came to America, you know, this was for me the old world. You know, like you see all these figures like Maya, maybe I don't know what.
Yeah.
And this was for me the symbol of America. A
Oh.
clear form, you know, and just in front of the two worlds, you know.
Interesting.
And I mean, it's also interesting to just put away, you know, it's too bad Cliff is not here because he has always this vase, the vase problem, you know. And here I was just interested, maybe I should do even sometime. I'm inspired by my own work, looking maybe years after, you know, maybe I make a new series about vases, you know, just the surface of the, you know, I like that in a way, you know, and
Yeah.
so, okay,
Very
that was
successful.
my thing.
Hans, thanks for showing us. That was
Hello. Yeah,
Very successful.
thank you.
Fantastic.
So now let's see. Okay, we're gonna let's see. Oh, let me do this. Hold on.
Can we see Phyllis's stuff?
Why don't we look at yours first? Okay.
Okay. Get the
Yeah.
aggravation out of the way.
Hold on. Did you just send me two paintings?
I sent you 3 things.
Yeah, you send
paintings.
also a view, a photograph of.
Yeah, a photograph and 2 paintings.
Yes.
Okay.
I just started this yesterday.
Okay. Let's
And I really thought about not sending it at all.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Can you
that's
see
the
that?
photo. That's the photo.
Yeah, that's the
it's
photo.
keystones. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't have a macro This is
Mhm.
just,
I like this whole view through the whole.
Yeah,
I
it's
do
fantastic.
too. I do
Beautiful.
too. I do
Yeah,
too.
Great.
yeah, very,
It's a photograph of the rear of a church in which we did watercolor classes from the 1700s. This church was, and it was just captivating.
Yeah.
where was this, Marcia? What,
In France,
I know, but
in
where?
the south. I don't remember Saint Jean, just something or other.
Oh, okay.
You know, about an hour away, very close to the Spanish border.
Oh, not
Very-
in York.
Not in Collioure, no.
Okay.
Mhm.
In a small town about 50 minutes away, 50.
Hmm.
Mhm.
What a great, oh, it's really great.
I mean, you know, all local stone.
Mm.
Yeah, I just marvel at the way they put those skinny long bricks into an arch. Yeah, I know it's sort of cantilevered in a way, so there's more cement on one side than the other. But I just, how do they do that? How do they arrive at the fact that the arch would support a building? You know, I mean, this was done thousands of years ago. Not this particular one, but the whole idea of an arch to support a framework of heavy stuff above it was
Right,
heretical. No columns,
right.
you know. Anyway, that's the painting.
Mhm.
I mean, no, rather, that's the photo.
Mhm. Right.
So let's
Okay,
go
Mark.
to the sketch.
Mark disappeared.
Oh,
Mark,
He went to the south of France.
oh, we should all go to the south of France.
we should all go there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
here he is.
That's the
Oh.
drawing.
Okay.
Nice. Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Mhm.
I always like this stage of your paintings, Marcia.
Yeah, I do too.
Just because your lines are always very direct and confident, even though there's painting in and out, which is fine, but the lines are nice.
I agree.
Mm.
There's something about that, the framing of an interior, or
Mhm.
even an exterior, but the interiors have a mystery to them, you know?
Yeah.
Where do the lines go? And then I think of surrealism, and then I screw it up.
Mhm.
But I want it to be more vertical. You know,
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean more vertical?
So,
the swing of the arch, you see how it's making it look, see how vertical this is, the
I
verticality.
mean, like this vertical here, right?
And
This line,
the
Yeah,
height
this
of
line,
the arch.
and then this whole thing.
Right, right. Whereas in Marcia's drawing, it's much wider and fuller or fatter.
It's the size of the canvas.
Yeah.
mhm.
And I realize it's the wrong size, but it's what I had available,
But
and
you
I want to
have
use
to-
them.
Yeah.
They're too big.
Mhm.
They're too big for me. They just are. It's just what I have.
What's too big? The canvas?
They're 20 by 24.
Mhm.
I mean, I hate to say that in front of people who work with a 7 foot by 5 foot canvas, and even 20,000 feet by 2,000 feet. But for me, it's too big.
I can relate, Marcia. I like to
Just
work.
get bigger. Just get bigger brushes.
I have big brushes. And I decided not to fuss with it. I want to make it more abstract. And then I start with the color, and the color gets in the way. And oh gosh, I just want to tear this apart.
Well, can we see your painting, the next one?
Yeah, let's look
Yeah.
at that.
But I like this drawing. Oh, that's also wonderful.
Oh, look at that.
Very nice.
Great.
Yeah.
No, it's not,
Great.
it's not very nice. It's a
Yes,
pain,
it is. Of course it is.
it's a pain in the ass. It's
Oh,
it's too. It's just too. I don't know. I just get waylaid by the color, and then I get crazed. You know, it's a sunny Mediterranean thing, but the picture itself is not sunny. You know, I mean, it harks back. It's some kind of like, I think of surrealism when I look at the photo, but yet when I start with the color, something else takes over.
yeah, but you know what? This painting is far more surreal than the photograph. The photo is not. The photo is not surreal
No,
at
the
all.
photo is just a photo.
Right. It's a photo, and it's an interesting photo compositionally. You know, the old walls. You know, the bricks, the arch. You know, so on and so forth. The perspective is interesting, but this is surreal. You know, I mean,
Well,
this
wait until I put-
this very deep space that you're drawn into that ends up in just the sky, nothingness. You know, there's just this space. You know, it's a very interesting painting.
That is.
Wait,
it is
wait until I put a man floating up in the blue sky.
You know, it's going to be interesting no matter what you do. No.
No, I think the colors are too intense.
No.
Why don't, can we have some, let's have some feedback from others rather than, you know.
As a
how-
novice, I really enjoy this because it never occurred to me that creating even architecturally that small gateway going through, how it draws me, and her brushstroke just draws me wanting to go, just to go
Yeah.
out. I want to go out. Yeah, I think it's amazing.
I want to go out. I want to go out of my mind and not paint anymore.
I like also how you put the color there and you left it. So
Yeah.
it's like, that makes it so great and fresh and just wonderful.
I agree. Totally. Absolutely.
I'm just, you know, I'm just blocking in the painting. That's what I'm doing. I'm blocking it in to see how it works, to see if it works.
Well, it works. And the colors are interesting, these deep reds and I love the middle ground with just this really, really intense dark, you know, Prussian blue.
Isn't that gorgeous, that color?
Yeah,
That
and the
blue?
purple is great next to the yellow. This is interesting. The colors are really wonderful.
You know, I
They're
can't
very
get
effective.
And it gives you a sense of a shadow, but it's completely wrong, you know. But it's so beautifully wrong that it works, you know. It's an illogical. It's an illogical shadow. You know?
I would
And,
sort of just leave this painting the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. You don't.
Leave
I wouldn't. Yeah,
You don't touch it, Marcia.
Oh, God in heaven.
just leave it. Just leave it. It's an interesting painting.
Oh, funny.
God in heaven. It's killing me. I'm trying to block it in.
It's wonderful.
I'll probably
It kind of reminds me of a Van Gogh.
A little
And the
bit. The
wonderful-
yellows, yeah.
wonderful, you
The
know,
yellows, the
the-
perspective being different,
Yeah.
you know. It
You
just,
know, it's funny you should say that because I normally lay out the colors, all like umpteen of them when I first start painting. This time I said, you know what? I'm just going to block it in today. I don't need all those colors, blah, blah, blah. And I may work like this henceforth, but I remember Karen O'Neill saying, if you don't lay out all the colors, you will not use them. And you won't see what colors you can play with. But here I'm thinking also of Wolf Kahn and all this purple and yellow. And
You know, Marcia, if I can just suggest one thing, because this idea that you have to lay out the colors, it doesn't give you a lot of room to go anywhere because
That's
you're
true.
laying the color, they're already so intense. If you built, I mean, this is something very separate to this painting, what I'm going to say. But, if you built these colors up and developed them little by little, with some blues, and then you could put greens in let's say, like just this area, let's say, put a little blue in there, you put a little green, you put a little red, but it's light. And then you develop it, and you can
Yeah.
also, and you can use the same colors in other places.
Yes,
In the
of
painting, you
course.
put a little blue in here, you put a little green down here,
To knit it
so
together.
if you start with like more of a Cézanne idea, where you're just, laying out the whole painting, colors in various places, then by the end you have very, very rich, modulated areas that have multiple colors in them, even though they
Yeah.
might be predominantly, blue or predominantly red. But in those colors, there's a lot of modulations and a lot of variation.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
kind of
when you,
box myself in, is what you're
yeah, because when
saying.
you lay something in this thickly and this intensively, it is what it is, which is why we're saying just leave it. It's great. We love it.
Yes.
But it doesn't give you a lot of room to move.
No, that's so true. So maybe what I'll do is another one in lighter colors and try to build on the colors, or even
What do you
do
think,
it.
Hans?
I like, I like, for instance, the arch. When you go, you see, with the arch
Yeah.
goes up, and then you see basically underneath the arch, right? And then on the top, it changes, and you don't see underneath, It becomes like just the view on the wall. And I like that, because you're using the same color in a way. And it's just a great effect. It's wonderful. I like it.
I do too. I do
I can
too.
believe it the way it is.
And you know what I like, Marcia? That you didn't paint the bottom full of that color. If you would have done that, the painting would become probably a little bit weaker,
Yeah.
I would say.
Huh.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do completely something else somewhere else to make
Yeah.
the painting great, and not things we never thought of,
Yeah.
And this is a
Hans-
very nice example that this makes the whole painting even, just it makes the painting sort of.
I tell you the truth, when I was doing the bottom and I try to do the brush strokes in perspective, I liked the unfinished area very much.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. What I think, I mean, I thought I would lay in the empty left-hand side with a sort of a green.
Mm-hmm.
But you're suggesting that I just leave it alone?
I would
Yes.
leave this one alone. It just feels
Completely.
really good.
You can only
just-
do harm to this painting by painting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Do another one and do another one and do whatever you want, but leave this one. Do the same sketch and the same composition.
Okay.
But leave this. You can always go back to it some other time, but just leave it for now.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a problem with the lower right-hand corner where, everything else is so brilliant. And then there's this orange, which cuts off the brown arch. And I don't know if I want the arch to be a little longer or this orange to be a little more like the rest of the pathway so that it's more integrated. Other than that, I think I really like it. I like the intensity. Does anyone see this, that what I'm
I
talking?
see what you're saying, but I don't agree.
I don't agree either.
Barbara, that's your problem. It's not.
No, it's all valid. It's all valid. I thank you for your comments. But I personally, I like that and I wouldn't change it.
I wouldn't touch that.
No, I wouldn't. It wouldn't either. You can only destroy it. We see.
This is a good painting. It's a really good painting.
Yeah.
Very spontaneous. If you were
It's really,
talking there, it would.
it's really good.
I really like it too. I just have a quick question, just visually. On the left side, are those bricks part of your apartment or are they part of the painting?
What
No,
brick?
those are,
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
terrace. That's
That's
the,
the
Yeah.
terrace. Oh, okay.
I
It's
couldn't
not part of the
eliminate
painting.
that.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't
I-
eliminate that.
it's not part
I
of the painting.
couldn't eliminate the aluminum of the bottom
Yeah.
with, you know, yeah,
That's how the painting looks.
I didn't edit it.
Gotcha. I really like this painting too. I like what everybody's
Yes,
saying,
yes.
how loose the front part is, which I really like, and
Mm.
it's just very interesting.
It is. It's great.
And it has, it's you know, it's illogical also. It's
That's what
logical.
that is what reminds me of Van Gogh, is that he played a lot with perspective. You know, I think he was a genius with that. And I
Oh,
think
God, yes, especially in his pen and ink drawings.
Oh, they're amazing.
Oh,
Wow.
my God. Oh, my
he
God.
was
How
one-
he modulated the fields in such a way
Unbelievable.
that they were so totally in the distance.
They're beautiful.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
think here, I think what Hans is saying is that some of it doesn't make sense logically, like his paintings, but it's super interesting.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
I don't, but I'll go by your superior judgment and I'll leave it.
Great.
I'll leave it alone.
Let's see. You want to
What
look
is
at
that painting in Marie to your left? There's a painting up on the wall. Did you do that?
No, that's Larry Rivers.
Oh, really?
No. I mean, this is the one on your immediate left.
Like that one?
Yeah.
That's a Larry Rivers.
Is it a real Larry Rivers?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, my
Why
God.
isn't it in a frame?
Oh,
What is it?
I think
Is it paper? Is it paper or canvas?
No, it's canvas, but he builds up the canvases so much. Let me see.
Yeah. Let's see if we can see it. That would be great.
Oh, right. Yeah.
could we see it?
Is that Matisse? The subject?
No, it's like a psychiatrist talking to somebody.
Oh,
Oh.
And what's really
Oh.
cool is how much, I don't know if you could see on the side, how much he
yeah.
built.
He
Yeah.
used foam core and
Yeah,
cut it out. Yeah,
What
Yeah.
did he use?
like a
foam
core.
core.
Oh, really? Could we
Yeah, it's
see that again?
dimensional. It's
Oh,
Yeah.
dimensional.
Could we see that again, please?
Sure.
That's
you can
great.
see it, yeah.
Could we see the side again,
Sure.
please?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm not seeing it.
I just knocked my head.
There you go. Oh, I see. I see it now.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like those pieces he did.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He did these cutouts, these freestanding cutouts of nudes and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sounds a little like Alex Katz.
They're somewhat like that. Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
The cutout figures. Hmm.
Yeah. That's great. It's a nice piece.
Mhm.
It is.
Absolutely.
Let me see something here.
Where are you now, Ty? Are you
Say
in
again?
Florida?
I'm in Pennsylvania, southwestern Pennsylvania for the summer. Yeah.
Because that door is not a Florida door.
That is definitely not a Florida door.
No, definitely not a Florida door.
We're in an old cottage.
It's lovely.
Thank you.
So let's take a look at this.
Ooh, that's a work on paper.
Phyllis?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Really-
man, that's great.
really s- yeah.
Well, sorry. I'm trying to go the other way.
Mm.
There we go.
That is just great.
Beautiful.
So we know whose work this is, right?
Yeah,
I don't.
Phyllis.
This is Phyllis. I don't maybe you,
No.
I don't know if you've met her here before or not.
I don't think so.
So she's not here today, but
Mm.
That's nice.
Oh, Phyllis.
I love this. This is almost figurative, isn't it, for Phyllis? I mean,
Yes.
this looks like a silhouette,
Yeah.
and this sort of looks like a bird laying down. This
Mhm.
form.
Yeah,
Mm.
Nice.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Could you turn it around, Mark?
No, no. Let's see first all the paintings you
Yeah.
have, and then play around. I want to see
Mm.
instead of
I think
That's
that's so
also
strong. I
gorgeous.
really like that.
wonderful piece, also
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah. Nice colors.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's amazing. Nice. Wonderful.
Absolutely. This is really nice. I like the way she worked negatively here with just the paper coming through
Absolutely, yeah.
as opposed to this area, but they work together so well. Beautiful. And there's one more. Let's see. Hold on.
Wow.
Is this it?
It's amazing how such a small piece can have such big impact, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Incredible.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
I like the rectangles on the bottom,
Yeah.
Mm.
Like,
how that works in the space.
yeah.
Really nice.
Very structural.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Very much.
Wow.
Just, it's so loose, but yet it is structural at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so
And
free.
complex somehow.
Yeah,
Complex.
yeah.
Complex. Yeah.
Just incredibly loose at the same time. Just
Yeah,
so
yeah.
beautiful. That's a beauty.
Yeah.
I love this one, really. It's so strong.
It is.
And you can suddenly see more almost eyes looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very scary also a little bit.
This is from The Great Gatsby.
From The Great Gatsby.
The
What do you mean
eyes,
by that?
the eyes of Dr. whatever it was over the water of the East Egg.
Right. Yeah.
Look in the lower right corner. You can see an angry cat, or I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like suddenly you see
Oh, yeah.
which are really scary,
Da, 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 da.
That's the film music, the score, or what?
Yeah.
Look here too. It's like a dog melting away. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I see things here. This is like
I see the dog.
I see a dog laying down up here, curled up.
Yeah, a wolf.
This is the face.
Right.
That's the ear.
Yeah.
This is the tail. The tail.
Oh, I see now.
Exactly.
Pretty
Or
cool.
it could be
But then I see
up.
also on the bottom, a whole
Yeah. His whole
strange-
body.
We don't know what that is. I'm crazy.
Actually, the dog can be extended and going down also with legs, 4 legs here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of information to.
Mm.
I like the
Hmm.
colors together.
This is gorgeous. This is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. Huh.
Very nice. Beautiful.
Very.
Yeah.
Very special. That's a special.
Yeah.
And so is she.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
Was nach haben wir?
now
So
comes then the glass of white wine soon.
Hans, how is Switzerland going?
It's fine. We had the first day of very hot weather.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the first time really summery temperatures, like 90 degrees.
Wow.
Ooh.
Is it humid there or is it not humid?
Yeah, it's not so humid. But what we had, we have also these clouds from Canada, from the wildfire in Switzerland.
Oh,
Ah.
oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you can't see far. You don't see the mountains.
Oh,
you know,
my.
and people
We-
get headaches and blah blah blah. You know, it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's all
We
the
have-
wild.
We
Yeah.
have the air pollution here from the fires also.
Yeah, I see it when I look at the thing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just threw a few things. Does anyone, if anyone has something else, we can consider it. But I threw in some pieces
Oh,
by,
Oh,
Trying to remember who this
who
is.
is that from?
Alex Cox.
No.
what?
No.
Does anyone know who this is?
Burchfield?
Yes.
Who?
Charles Burchfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yay, Barbara.
Wow, Barbara.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
You could. So your iPad is really good.
Yeah, it's all in the
It's all
So
there.
I didn't know. I didn't know that Charles Burchfield, his job, he had a real job, and he designed wallpaper for a big wallpaper producer.
Get out of
And
here.
he did designs. This is one of them right here.
Wow.
And you can buy these still. There's a website, and they're not expensive, but you can actually buy swaths of the original wallpaper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the repeat to see where the repeat is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's what I used to do too.
Did you?
Well, I did textile design. It's the same principle,
Sure.
Oh, right. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gotta be a certain kind of repeat with the rollers
Yeah.
know,
That's right.
for the bed, blah blah blah, and the repeat has to fit onto the dimensions of the rollers.
oh.
This is not wallpaper.
No.
No, is this Birchfield?
Yes, these are all Birchfield.
Wow, that's just not what I would associate with him.
Yeah.
You know, his was like the Industrial Revolution kind of thing, wasn't it?
The what?
No, I think you're thinking of Sheeler, Charles Sheeler.
Oh,
Maybe.
wasn't Birchfield in that same ilk?
No.
No.
Oh,
He was more of a mystic. He was a visionary artist.
oh, well, this is would fit into that mold.
He was more like in the Grant Wood regionalism.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, a piece like this, yes.
Look at that. Yeah. Holy cow.
That's weird. Yes.
Yeah.
That's also, yeah, that's a bit like your stuff, Marcia.
Yeah.
That's social realism.
Almost illogic, but it's logic.
Oh,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah. Are these watercolors?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
I think he was part of the WPA also, wasn't he?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Could be. Yeah.
Look, how
Oh, look
nice.
at that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, look at that.
It seems like it's almost influenced by Indian,
Yeah.
American.
Yeah.
design.
American Indian. Yeah. Native American.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's a neat one, isn't it?
That is a great one.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh man.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. That's that again. Oh, there we go.
Nice.
That looks good.
It does.
Sai, it really does.
Thank you.
Doesn't it? It looks great.
Yeah, it holds.
Very good.
Yeah.
It looks like the remains of a party, of a New Year's Eve party or something.
Of some very heavy drinkers.
Something.
Magic mushrooms, actually.
Oh, magic.
Uh-huh.
I have a question. I have an art question.
Yeah.
Because Hans brought it up too about Marcia's work, is that a touch of something that's illogical is how do you do that? You know, if you look at something and there's only one thing that seems to be illogical, then that's what you notice. It's just that illogical thing. So if you're going to go and do that, do you have is there multiple things that are kind of like illogical? So, or can you just have one illogical element inside a painting?
I think, can I answer that? Or do you want to
Please.
answer that?
No, I don't know.
Okay. I think generally paintings want to be consistent in some way, right? Like have some overall logic, their own logic. It could be absurd and still have a consistent logic, right? A painting can be surreal. It could be, all sorts of things. It could be anything, but it has to have an internal logic. Just because it's a painting, and so, and we have to sort of take it in one glance, right? But on the other hand, a painting can be a pastiche. It can be many, many different things, but that has to somehow be the, overriding sense, is that it's a pastiche. So it takes a little from this, a little from this, a little from this. There could be, but in the actual painting of the painting, meaning the painterly approach, there should be, I don't want to say there should, but there normally is a kind of a consistency as to how the paint is applied, let's say. Like if you're a photorealist, the painting is just, very coherent. Let's say there's a coherent skin of paint. In the case of an impressionist, there's a coherent manner in which it's painted, right? So the consistency or the logic of a painting is usually in the way it's painted, not in what is painted, right? You could paint anything, as I said, absurd or illogical, but the approach, is usually consistent.
If I may add something also, I mean, the question was in a way also simplified, that does it need two things which are illogic in a painting instead of only one thing which is illogic? Or what did I understand that?
Yeah,
right?
I think that was it. Like
because you were, so I would say you know, once you are repeating illogical thing, it becomes almost a pattern, and therefore it could become boring. While when you have just one thing which is illogic, but compositionally it works, because it could be two things which create one shadow without defining where the shadow comes from. These two shadows, you know, it has maybe it's something illogic, because you have to think why this can't be, you know. But it's the most important element of the whole painting, which carries you to that other world, you know, which is not just a rendering, you know, about, you know. And I think that's in art, you know, there are many illogical things in great art, you know. You know, and I mean, Picasso is one of the, I mean, he made so many illogical things, you know, but they are still, it works, you know. And
because
it's
they're
a special case, you know. But let's say Cezanne has a great painting. I don't know what, you know, but he made a portrait, and this person, this man, he had such a long arm in this painting.
Yeah.
Just a long, it's in a way illogically illogical long almost. But the whole painting is so great because of that. Otherwise, it would be almost a boring painting, you know.
Like Ingres, you know, the figures are impossible. The neck is way too long. The arms are in the wrong place sometimes, you know, slightly. But it was all for a painterly purpose, you know, which is fascinating. You know, in Picasso, he could do anything because he could turn a surface, you know, any way he wanted it, but it was all had a painterly logic. It all came out of the paint, and we accepted it. De Chirico you know, was a surrealist, right? And so his shadows were always going in different directions in the same painting. So there was like, you know what I mean? Like one shadow would go one way, another shadow would go down another way. And so it was it created the sense of, you know, of disorientation.
Yeah.
So it depends what you want, you know, you can control it.
Right.
You know, that sense of illogic.
Exactly, but I would just say, you know, once you put illogical things on one canvas, one at the other, then the whole painting is about rhythmization, and everything which has a rhythm is already beautiful. Do you understand?
Yeah.
When you and in a way it could be then also boring, you know. But many artworks with rhythmization and with, you know, even Ai Weiwei, with, you know, you know, when he makes all his pots or whatever, 10,000 pots. Of course, he asks assistants to do it. But then you have like these pots on the floor. They look always nice.
Yeah.
But it's basically boring. I'm sorry, you know.
Right.
No,
Well,
I mean, it's all
sure.
you know, it's just a pattern to do something which is always beautiful. And with a rhythmization, you are always on the safe way.
Right.
You know?
But I guess the question is, if you do one thing, you know, if you're, I guess the question is, do you need to repeat something that you're doing once so that it's more consistent in the painting? And I guess that's.
Well, don't you, if there are things that are consistent and then you have one point that's totally different, is that not the element of not only surprise, but is that one element that's different, the emphasis, the focal point? If everything else is rhythmic and goes together, then all of a sudden you have one point of interest, and doesn't that spark the painting? Doesn't that create an interest? It's an emphasis. And I think one emphasis in a painting is probably enough if the other things are rhythmic. I mean, that's, That's one of the art elements, right? Emphasis. There's line, rhythm, and rhythm is formed by line, formed by similarity of color. There's form, there's balance. It's very complicated when you start painting.
Yeah. So I'm trying to understand is to create in a way that your eye moves around the painting. And so my question was also attached to that, because if there's one thing that's illogical, then you kind of stay with that. So there must be some kind of balance between inserting an element that is like a spark, like Marcia said, and then having it not be something in which you can't move around to the rest of the painting because you're so, do you know what I mean? I guess I'm
repetition of form, repetition of color, even if it's not exactly the same. Repetition of form, color will create a balance. And I think if we're lucky, that one emphasis will be just perfect. If we're lucky.
Thank you so much.
I think that I think that our teacher has said to never have just one element, skip. Yeah. So maybe size coming from that at the Armory, right?
No, it wasn't that. It was just, it was just, I'm focused now on trying to make sure that I can move around my painting, but maybe that's not important, or that important is just everything just being cohesive, being in relationship without. So I'm just struggling with that. That's all.
I think,
good question.
I think as long as there's a painterly logic, and I think that depends on the eye. So I think, in the end, you have to look at it. It has to be coherent. A painting has to have some sort of coherent message, reality, sense.
Has to work.
As a work. And then whatever happens inside can happen, because we have to understand that it's just, pigment moving around on a surface. Ultimately, it's a painting. It's an illusion. It's a vision. And so, anything that works, anything you can push the envelope, you can subvert logic, you can play. And, and painters constantly do that, push the envelope to do something provocative. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if logic is the right, as long as there's a painterly logic, I think that's all that matters. I don't think.
How do you define a painterly logic?
Yeah, and I want to say also, it's not. Sometimes it comes to mind that you use the word logic. Do you understand? I mean, there is complex logical things going on in our brain anyway when you do a painting, and it's so logic, and you know what I'm saying. But I said it because I saw Marcia's piece, and this dark area, which that's why I said this is illogical shadow, but that's the I could read it as that, you know what I'm saying? And that was the wonderful thing in that painting. This element made, it's just that's the thing, but it was illogic, because it's architecture. We know it's from a photograph. And,
it worked.
Also, don't forget.
I wouldn't go, to a museum and say, oh, look at this abstract painting of, and say, oh, it's illogic or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I would just say, maybe I think this and this part is not well crafted, or there is something wrong about it, because as we said at the end, when we looked at the bottom, we say there is something missing in your painting, but it's not illogic. It's
likability. Like
you
a
know, it's
building.
just not done yet. You know, it's just not. But it's not. It's logic in a way. It's not illogic. You know.
Okay.
So,
You know, there's certain rules in a strange way. You know, of course, they're flexible, but there's rules in making a painting. It has its own logic. It has its own interior, you know.
And how does that become evident?
Huh?
How does that become evident when you know things are working? How does
Well,
that become evident?
that's something for next week, I would say.
Well, yeah, we'll pick up that subject again. I mean, it's basic. It's basic. We could talk about it forever. Like
Yeah.
what makes a painting, what makes it work, what makes one
Yes.
painting better than another
Yeah.
painting, or
Yeah.
more compelling, or more provocative, or more subversive, or more transgressive, or just more
Yes.
beautiful.
Exactly. And I think that was it for today, right?
Yes. So I'm going to like sign off here, and
Now
you can,
we have a glass of white wine.
yeah. So you can.
Yes.
Sign for
So
joining
thanks,
us.
folks, for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you
guys
so
can still
much. Thank you